Good morning. Happy birthday.
Everybody.
Isn't it Adar?
Oh,
Yeah.
Actually, there are two opinions. Some say it was Adar Rishon.
Didn't the Rebbe say Adar Rishon, or am I wrong? Well, I've already said this morning. So.
Why you said happy birthday?
Somebody wished me happy birthday, but I'll take it after that.
So we'll start with the Kapitel Tilim. Eibishter, in the schus of Moshe Rabbeinu, that's how the miracle of Purim happened in his schus. Everything turned around, and Haman was very disappointed, but we were very happy. So the Eibishter should happen. The same thing should happen now.
Amen.
With all the Hamans of our generation, and we should see Hashem's miracles. And we shouldn't have to wait any longer. Today, Zion Adar Rishon. So we're starting from Kapitel Chav. Lam Natseach Mizmel David. Yancha Adonai b'yom tzara yisagedcha Shem Elohei Yaakov. Yishlach Hezecha mikodesh u'mitzion yisadeka. Yizkar kol min chesecha v'yoscha yidash nesela. Iten lecha chilvavecha v'chalatzoscha yimalei. Nerana b'shua secha u'b'shem Eloheinu nidgel. Yimalei Adonai kol mishal yisecha. Ato yadaiti ki Yeshia Adonai Mashiachei. Yanehu mishmei kodshei. V'gvureis yesha yiminei. Eila v'rechev v'eila v'susim. Anachnu b'shem Adonai Eloheinu naski. Hema korov v'nafolu. V'anachnu kamnu v'nasega. Adonai Yeshia Hamelech Yaneinu b'yom kareinu. Good morning. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'achol mi'avot. So on page 242, I want to start before we go too far and go over the terms that we didn't do yet. You can go back to the booklet with the terms, and I think that we are up to number 24 or 25. 24. 24 says,
Yeah, same.
so yeah, I just wanted to check if you're alert. Okay, yeah, we're on 17. Okay, 18 is yesh. That's not something which we have to explain. We all know it, feel it. It's not a problem. 19, Hameach Shalat Alalev.
Where are we? Sorry, where are we?
19.
The brain goes over the heart.
Meach Shalat Alalev is the brain rules over the heart. And 20, the opposite. The heart rules over the brain. 21, Lamalis Taivas Libre. Good morning. Lamalis means to fulfill, like male in Hebrew means full. Lamalis to fulfill. Taivas, the desires, Libre of the heart. This was describing that level that all he wants is to fulfill the desires of the heart. There's no desire to do what Hashem wants. Number 22, what is that? Yiras ha'onesh. Fear of punishment. someone that's motivated to do the right thing, but what motivates them? The fear of punishment. It's not really fear of Hashem, but fear of punishment. Number 23, Kabbalah's oil.
The yoke of heaven, accepting the yoke of heaven.
What is the implication of accepting the yoke of heaven? What does it mean?
You're doing something because Hashem wants you to.
Right, but we have to add a little bit salt and pepper.
Like the level of servants that they're serving the king because they admire and respect the king.
Exactly not.
Oh.
You do something you don't understand, or you don't actually want, but you still do it because it's shown.
Right, Kabbalah Soil is more not understanding. Good morning, Leah. Kabbalah Soil means when you do something because you're dedicated, you're loyal, but not necessarily that you understand like with the king. In fact, this is the difference between, this is number 24, might as well do it now. Ben and Evan. Remember we said Ben, the son of the king, serves the king out of love because he understands his greatness and he appreciates his greatness, and that's why he serves him. Evan means I'm a servant of the king, which means I'm there, whatever the king wants, I'm loyal, I'm dedicated. Doesn't necessarily understand, but what the quality that he has is dedication and loyalty. So generally speaking, soldiers are always associated with Kabbalah Soil. Why? Because soldiers, they're not the generals. The generals are the ones that are supposed to figure out the strategy. The soldiers are just supposed to follow orders. Could you imagine generals tell the soldier, go there to the north and shoot in this direction? And he's going to say, why? An army can't run that way. A soldier is somebody that you give an order, boom, he's there, right? I'm sure you're all in the army, you know what I'm talking about.
Voice Hashem.
What? Tzivos Hashem. In fact, Chassidim used to say, if a soldier is all Kabbalah Soil, then what does he have a head for? It's to be able to carry the rifle, should be able to, the string should be able to hang something to hang on, otherwise he wouldn't be able to have his rifle. In other words, the soldier is just following orders. That's Kabbalah Soil. I'm dedicated, I'm loyal, whatever you tell me to do, I'll do. And a Ben is someone who serves Hashem because he understands the greatness of Hashem, and that motivates him to do what Hashem wants. 25, Ayin Sorim Denoida. Who's he? Give you a hint. Ayin is 70. Very good. The 70 angels of Klipas Nega. In other words, there are 70 angels in heaven, that these 70 angels, they are in charge of all the 70 nations. And in fact, everything in the world of Klipas Nega, all the laws of nature and everything that's related to nature, it's all coming from these 70 angels. Ayin Sarim Denega. So even though they're malachim, but they're not like the malachim which are really holy malachim. These malachim are already klipas nega, like Esau. He had a malach. But what was his malach doing? Fighting with Yaakov. Number 26. I remember explaining it, but I don't think that we elaborated on it. So let's try again. Iyu v'chayeu chad v'garmeu chad. This is something which is found very, very often in Maimorim and Chassidus. What does it mean? What?
What is his heart, his mind?
No. So it's Aramaic, comes from the Zohar, and it means like this. Ihu, he. Ihu is like in Hebrew, who, Hey Vav Aleph, meaning Hashem. V'chayeyu, and his chayas, his life force, v'garmeyu, and his body, chad is one. Let me explain what it means. This is a term that's used mainly in reference to the world of Atzilus. In the world of Atzilus, there are 10 spheres. Each sphere consists of two things. Which are the two things that constitute a sphere? Iris and Kalim. Remember that? The light and the vessel. So the light is Chayehu, that's the life force of the sphere. The Keli, that's Garmeyu, that's like the body of the sphere. In Atzilus, Hashem and the spheres are absolutely one. No separation. There's no sense of separateness. He's one with the light of the sphere and one with the Keli of the sphere. And in fact, that's the difference between Atzilus and all the other worlds, Bria, Yetzira, Asiya. In the world of Bria, there's a little drop, a sense of separateness. In the world of Yetzira, there's a stronger degree of separateness. In the world of Asiya, even more of a degree of separateness. In our physical world, we mamish perceive ourselves as separate. We need to learn and work hard to recognize that we're one with Hashem. In Atzilus, it's naturally absolute one with Hashem. That's what the words mean. Iyu v'chayeyu v'garmeyu chad. In fact, most places would say like this: Iyu v'chayeyu, Iyu v'garmeyu chad. Meaning Hashem and His chayes, and Hashem and the kelim of the spheres are all one. Okay. What is 27 and 28? It's also a set that goes together. What Giluyim is, right? And Atzmos, right? So Atzmos means the essence. Giluyim means the light, the manifestation. In other words, these terms would be used, it could be used in reference to Hashem, it could be used in reference to the neshama, different things, but let's say the sun, the actual sun, the ball, the sun up there, that's the etzem, that's the essence of the sun. The light that shines all over the world, millions and millions of miles, that's the light of the sun. In a person, the neshama, the source of everything, that's atzmus, that's the etzem of the neshama. The intellect, the emotion, the faculties, the power to speak, the power to see, the power to hear. This is called giluyim. This is manifestation of the neshama. So in general, atzmos means the source, the essence, the core, where everything is coming from. Giluyim means the light. So in reference to Hashem, the light of Hashem, that's giluyim. And atzmos means Hashem's essence. So in Atzilus, there's all Hashem's light that shines, much more than the light that shines here. But the essence is even higher than Atzilus. In context of this Maimer, Atzmos is the king. And the Giluyim are all the beautiful things that you see in the first chamber, and the second chamber, and the third chamber that could be distracting. So distracting that he forgets to go to the king himself. Like the mashal we gave yesterday, not a mashal, but this would be the example of a person who is thinking deeply about Hashem's greatness, so deeply that they're filled with emotion, filled with pleasure, and the pleasure is so great and so deep and so strong, and the craving to be close to Hashem is so strong that the neshama leaves their body. So what happened here was that they're distracted by the Giluyim, but they're not connecting to the essence, because the essence of Hashem is dafka here, in the Gashmizik world, learning Torah down here and doing mitzvahs here. So this is what the next part of the Maim is going to be dealing with, the Atzmos and the Gilui. Is it clear? Okay, so let's go a little bit further now, and we'll start with page 242.
Sorry, what is yesh? Like there is something? Yesh.
Right.
Is that there is something?
What does it mean?
Yeah.
That's your question.
Uh-huh.
No, anyone could give an answer?
Ego, like feeling like you're something,
Yes.
like,
Okay.
yeah, like a sense of self.
Right. So it doesn't mean there's something, it means the feeling that there's something besides Hashem.
Maybe.
That's yeshus. The opposite of that is bittul, that I feel one with Hashem. Yesh leimar. And we can now explain what he just explained about the idea that, you know what? I'm sorry to really bother you once again. In the book that remember we made that chart, let's go back to the chart. Let's climb up the ladder again. Sorry, on page, where's the chart? Page 44. Right? So I'm just going to go through this once again. The lowest level is, again, talking about the mashal, that you choose the ministers instead of the king. The lowest level is the people that say that Hashem abandoned the world. He created the world, and after that, he's busy with other things, and the world is operating by themselves. So they choose the ministers, those that run nature, and therefore they're not looking to connect to Hashem because he's not involved with the world anymore. That's the lowest level. This next level is, no, they believe that Hashem created the world. They believe that Hashem is running the world. But they still believe that there are sort of forces, the stars, the constellation, they have some influence in the world, and therefore they worship them. That's the next level. It's a little bit not as bad as the first, but it's still not recognizing fully Hashem. What is recognizing full Hashem? Like the axe in the hand of the chopper. Then goes the third level. That person chooses Hashem. Now we're talking about the person who doesn't choose the ministers, chooses Hashem. But why does he choose Hashem? Because of the benefits. He realizes there's more benefits by connecting to Hashem than the benefits he's going to get from the ministers, right? What's the next level? Choosing Hashem because it's emes, not because of the benefits. You all following me? Okay. That's the next level. Choosing Hashem because it's emes, but the choice is a logical choice. It's based on logic, that I understand that Hashem is emes, and logic is leading me to that conclusion, which is also great, but it's based on logic. Then there's a higher level that it's not based on logic, it's based on the essence of the neshama, that I can't choose anything else. I choose Hashem because my neshama and Hashem are one. The logic is only a channel through which the emunah is going through the logic, but the essence of it is emunah. Now, up until now, we were talking about choosing Hashem and not choosing the stars, the constellations. But then there's another thing, that Hashem created malachim, and they are the ones that are running the world. And choosing Hashem and not the ministers means not to choose the angels, not to realize that these angels, even though they're angels and Hashem created them, they have no power of their own. To go a step higher is not only that I'm not choosing those angels, even the angels of Kedusha, Malach Michal, Malach Gavriel, Malach Rafal, holy angels, I realize that they're only shluchim of Hashem. I'm not connecting to that. But then he goes a step higher. This is the last thing we did, choosing Hashem over the spheres, which means I'm not even into the light of Hashem. The spheres, I want the essence of Hashem. And now we go to the 10th level.
What did you say that was again? Like choosing the spheres, if that.
In other words, my connection is not to the spheres, but to the essence of Hashem.
What would that look like?
That was like the mashal with the king, that I go to the king and I'm not distracted by all the lights. What we said, and what it would look like is, for example, a person who's ready to give up the pleasure of learning and davening and the pleasure of loving Hashem, giving that up because of what Hashem wants.
Right, thank you.
Yishleimar, page 242. She'inyan zehu Adar, the mila v'shamayim v'imchach fasti baritz. By the way, when you learn Gemara and you learn Medrash on the surface, you can actually pretty much understand things as if the angels are really in charge. You know, the Gemara says, this angel made this decision, that angel made that decision, and the heavenly court makes this decision. It appears from Gemara as if they really were put in charge by Hashem. Now, to the extent that there's a story with the Baal Shem Tov had a student that he sent this student on a shlichus. This is known by Chassidim as the long letter. What says the long letter? It's a letter that the Frierdiker Rebbe sent to Rebbe Chaim Mushka, and it's all about how somebody became a chassid of the Baal Shem Tov. And I don't know if they ever translated that in English, but it's a letter about a chassid who went to search for an old friend of his and to bring him to become close to the Baal Shem Tov. And he found him, and he wasn't an ordinary person. He was a person who for 50 years lived a life of isolation. He was in shul, had a room, he would daven and learn day and night, nothing else.
50 years.
50 years. He would go home only once a week for Shabbos. And when he went home, they would tie his eyes so he shouldn't see anything that would be distracting and disturbing. And 2 people would lead him to his house. And then when he went back to shul again, they tied his eyes and he went back. And he didn't speak to anything and anybody else except for learning and davening. And he was totally immersed just in learning the whole day. And he had to come to him, get through to him. Anyway, finally gets through. And a lot of details of what happened. But one of the details were where he shared one of his thoughts. And the thought was that it says that Moshe is the most humble person in the world. And he couldn't understand it because he couldn't think of anyone being more humble than he is. So how can there be somebody more humble? Anyway, there was something that he did that he expected that because of what he did, he should merit to see Eliyahu Hanavi. And it didn't happen. And he was wondering why it didn't happen. And he came to the conclusion that what he does, he's so humble, does things so quietly that the heavenly court, they probably didn't even recognize and notice that he did it. And that's why he didn't get Eliyahu Hanavi. And then one time he did something really extraordinary, out of this world, and he said, again, nothing's happening. He said, I'm sure now Hashem himself is going to get involved because he surely knows what's happening, and he's going to make sure that I get to give Eliyahu. It still didn't happen. Basically, the Chassid explained to him, do you realize that your thoughts are like borderline Avodah Zarah? Because he was basically saying that the heavenly court is involved, they are in charge, and because they are only angels and they don't have the ability to know everything, so they missed out on certain things that he did, and that's why he didn't get his reward. So what is the truth? The truth is the Eibishter runs the whole world. And whenever it says in Gemara that the heavenly court makes a decision, there's only one entity that makes a decision, that's Hashem. The heavenly court is just the channel through which Hashem makes his decision. But it chas v'shalom that the angels make a decision independent of Hashem. Yeah.
How can someone spend that much time learning Torah and be so refined, but still be such a yesh?
You can learn all day long about Kli Rishon and Kli Sheni, and you can learn all day long about what happens if an ox gores another ox, but you're not learning about Hashem and about Hashem's relationship with the world.
So he wasn't learning Chassidus all day.
He wasn't learning Chassidus, obviously. Yeah.
He should come to a home.
I think Rabbi Majeski was back then.
So basically, even the angels, the highest levels of angels, they're also just the axe in the hands of Hashem. But the higher up you go, the harder it is to recognize that, because in Gemara and Torah, it seems to attribute, it's as if attributing, but it's really the same thing. Like the mashal is given there when it says there's a Satan. You know, I think I told you this. I remember once I gave a class, I mentioned something about the Satan, and this woman jumped up and said, I don't believe this in a Torah class talking about the Satan. That's like so Christian. Satan is a word that's found in Gemara. It's actually found as a pasuk in Tanakh with the word Satan. And it's not an un-Jewish thought, it's a Jewish thought. So why is it such a Christian concept? The concept that they have is that there's an angel that's evil, and he is having this confrontation with Hashem, Chas v'sholom. In Judaism, there's an angel that Hashem created called the Satan. Hashem appointed him to do the things that he's supposed to do, but he doesn't do it, Hashem does it. He's just the channel through which Hashem does these things. And then there are angels through which Hashem does those things. Just like a person could do something with his right hand, or can do something with his left hand, but it's still the same person doing everything. So Hashem has an angel that heals. He's called Malach Raphael. It's not the angel that's healing, Hashem is healing. In fact, if a person would be praying to an angel to heal me, that would be borderline Avodah Zarah. And when we say things in davening and we might bring in names of angels, it means we're asking Hashem to deliver whatever bracha it is through these channels, through these angels, but not chas v'sholom that we're praying to the angels themselves.
Is that not in charge of Hashem's concerning us or like his external role?
What?
Is that what the Satan's in charge of, like Hashem's external role?
Yes. He's in charge of those things that are the external will. So he makes people do averis. He makes things happen that are destructive. And like the Gemara says, the Yetzer Hara and the Satan and the angel, which is the opposite of life, it's all the same guy. Wow. First he comes down here and convinces you to do an Avera. After that, he goes up to the heavenly court and becomes your prosecutor. And after that, he carries out and executes the punishment.
The
trio.
I mean, you know, the word is in davening. Hashem, take away the Satan from us. We know the Avodah Zarah, the ego was made because of the Satan. So even though it says Satan, doesn't mean there's an angel, God forbid, that could do anything independently. Yes, let's try again. Yeah. But there's a high level of Abba, so every time you climb the mountain, they keep slipping back. Let's try again. This is the love which is known as Mili B'Shamayim B'Imchalei Chafatzti. The pasuk, let's look up the pasuk, it's in Tehillim. And which chapter is it? I think it's right here, page 30. It's chapter 83. And these are the words of David HaMelech. Mili b'shamayim. Whom do I have in the heavens? Only you. And besides you, I desire nothing else on earth. But the way the Alter Rebbe read it was that I'm not interested in anything here, not interested in anything there, even in the highest spirits. I'm interested only in you yourself, and Hashem, you yourself. So let's see, Colossian, Admon Azokin, the Alter Rebbe would say at times, and it appears to be that this was not only just once, but it occurred from time to time. And like us, you mentioned the other day that the Rebbe chose to put this as the last thing in Hayom Yom. Why is that so significant? Because it's known, and we had that in class actually not that long ago, that in every situation, the first and the last contains the whole thing. The beginning and the end contains everything. That's why there are a lot of codes that are hinted in the first letter of a word and some that are hinted in the last letter of the word. Because the first letter and the last letter, they contain the whole word. Why that is, remember we